Can you guys hear me now?
Yes,
I'm pretty sure you guys can hear me now.
we can hear you.
All right. Okay, so let's dive straight in. Where did you stop in the last class? How many of you watched the last class, the video of the last class? How many of you were in the last class? Fucking. None of you were in the last class.
I think it's introduction to SIEM. You said it's SIEM. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I said the way we pronounce it is sim. Yeah. Okay, so tell me more now. Tell me more. What did you learn? By the way, just open up your try hack me. Okay, just open up your try hack me now. Let's go to where we stopped. Make progress. Ijeoma Maureen, I was asking, what did you learn in the last class? From the last class.
You are trying to identify unauthorized access using SIM tool. SIM tool is
Yes,
more like
precisely.
is a color coded tool. Like it helps you track when there's an unauthorized access in a website. So that's what I was able to get from the
Bravo.
class. Yes, sir.
Okay, yes. Yeah, that's precisely what we did. So we use the SIM tool. SIM tool, I told you guys in the last class that we take logs from different systems, right? And that your work as an entry-level cybersecurity analyst is to monitor the logs, right? Analyze them. But basically, what you do is to you monitor it and then you check for which one is actually a threat. All right. So you analyze them and say, okay, out of all the logs that was gathered by our monitoring and detecting system, I feel like these are the ones that are actually a threat. And then you pass it on to the higher authorities, the relevant authorities that would handle that particular case in the office. So and the last question we won't answer then was when we found out that the IP address was a malicious IP. The next question was, so who do you report to? And all of us got that one right. So who can remind me of one of the websites we use to check if an IP address is malicious? Okay, remind me. Nobody.
Virus total.
Virus total. That is very important. As you make progress, the more you're going to be using virus total a lot. All right. So virus total, that's it. In case you've not used it before, we did it in our last class. You should go over it. So let me just quickly share my screen. So we can start today's class. Okay, so this under this topic here is careers in cybersecurity. And the careers that are here is security analyst, security engineer, incident responder, digital forensics examiner. And this is the next part from the part that we're on the pre-security part, right? So if you open your pre-security, the last we did from the okay, let me just click it so that I can show you. So we're done with defensive security already. So now the next one here is careers in cybersecurity, right? And I mentioned in the last class that we won't be going over it because it's theory, not practical. So security analyst, security engineer, incident responder, digital forensics examiner, malware analyst, penetration tester, red teamer. So I'll be giving this to you guys now as an assignment, right? By the time we finish this class, by the time we're done with this class, for you to be able to get your certification from us that yeah, you participated in this program, uh, you are going to be able to pass my test, which would include a practical and a theoretical aspects, of course. So I want the assignment I'm giving you today now is to read up on all of this. I already threw lights on each and every one of these that are here at one point or the other in our lecture. I remember there was one of the days where I really settled down. We talked about most of this, if not all of them, probably all of them. I don't think there's anyone we didn't touch here. Right. So read up on it. It will be part of your test. So let's go back and check for the next thing in our pathway. So from our dashboard, right, we're in the pre-security pathway, as you can see here. We're in the pre-security pathway. We're done with offensive security. We're done with defensive security. So we want to continue. We're skipping this. So let's click on view path or resume learning. You can click on any one. Let's go with resume learning. Okay, then resume learning will force me back here. Sorry. So let's go with view path. We'll go with view path instead. Okay, so we're entering network fundamentals of networking. Oh, I was thinking I don't want us to do theory now. Okay, so we will leave networking for later on and how the web works. These two, they are very crucial and very important to cybersecurity, network fundamentals and how the web works. Right, they are very important, but there are a lot of theories and why I said they are very important is because they are the theories that will allow you to understand the practicals as we move on, especially when we want to start actually getting our hands dirty, right? So since we don't want to do theories today, we can keep this. Maybe we can touch this to be as the last thing we touch, then we'll wrap up the course. I mean, we have, I think, just four classes left. Maybe 4 or 6. Either 4 or 6. I will take my time to confirm that. So let's go straight up to Linux fundamentals of running Linux. All right. I'm sure you guys would enjoy this course. Okay, so click on Linux fundamentals in your system. Are you guys following me, by the way? Let me be sure. Please, if you are following me, let me know. If you are following, okay. Oribim Jack says he's following. Okay, so the rest of us, please follow along. All right, open your system, open your try hack me, and go to Linux fundamentals. let's make progress, all right? Part 1, Linux fundamentals, part 1. So here they said they're just welcoming us. They say welcome to Linux fundamentals, and as you can see, there's a doc here. So this doc usually is represents Linux, right? The Linux operating system. Okay, so sometimes you see when you see some people will use a doc name to represent black hackers. You get the concept. So we're just going to learn how to use it. So let's join the room. Now, so here they're telling you that the Linux operating system is actually used in many places. Now, the reason why this information is crucial or important to us is because when you want to launch certain attacks, right, you need to know the operating, you might need to know the operating system you're trying to attack. But most of the times, you will need to know the operating system you're trying to attack so that you can tailor it for that particular operating system. Because the vulnerability so the vulnerability that is in one operating system might not be in another. So for instance, there might be a vulnerability on Windows for some time. That particular vulnerability might not be on Mac. All right. And if you want to exploit that vulnerability and you go ahead and write a code that is able to exploit it, it will only work on Windows. It won't work on Mac because that vulnerability is not in the MacBook or in the Mac operating system. Right? So also, if you want to attack an operating system, a computer that runs on a Linux operating system, then you need to know that, okay, yes, what we are building is tailored for a Linux operating system. Also, apart from that, apart from what the malware you're trying to launch, right? When you get into a system, let's say you hack into a system, one of the first things you would need to do, or you might need to do, is to check, is to confirm if you are actually in. Like, you need to confirm if you've broken in correctly, right? And one of the ways we do that is to ask, who am I? Right? So who am I? Or the who am I command will tell you, the rank as the user that's currently using that system, which would also help you know if you are actually in another system. So for instance, let me just explain that visually so that if you click on the start button on your own computer there, you see your name there. You see your name somewhere. You see your name for your profile telling you that, okay, you are logged in as that person. Another way is if you open your file explorer, right? As I'm saying is you can just be doing it. Open your file explorer and go to local disk, click on users rather. When you click on users, you see the different users for your system, right? So that's another way. Because now if you log into a system that is being used to handle administrative affairs, you might see an admin as a user. Then you might see some other regular users there. So it's one of the things we'll play with. If we're unable to play with it in this class, we'll do it in master class. Okay, you see the admin profile, then you see other users that are not admin, right? So by the time you hack into the system, one of the things you want to check is, who am I? Which system have I gotten into? Did I get in as an admin or as a normal user, right? And what type of system am I in? So that you know how to make certain command, because it's not the same command you use for different systems. It's not the same command. I mentioned that when you break into the system, right? I mean, the malware you want to use to break into the system has to be tailored for that particular operating system, right? Now, apart from that, what I'm saying is that when you will break in, the commands you use to check these things, the command you use to check, okay, let me say you want to get all the passwords that are saved in that system. The command alone for that is not the same on every system. All right. If config, just little differences. There are usually little differences to the commands, but they are not the same. And that's part of the reason why you need to know that. All right. So now I'm telling you here that some of the websites you visit are actually running on Linux operating system. Now in a car, when you see all these cars that have dashboard at the front, right? Dashboard like where they can see some of the dashboards let you see behind, like the rear view of the car. You can see from behind. Maybe if you want to reverse the car, you can see behind that dashboard there. Some of those dashboards they run on the Linux operating system. POS, some POS run on Linux operating system, right? And then traffic, some critical infrastructures. I wanted to skip this, but I have to say it. Some critical infrastructures, such as traffic light controllers or industrial sensors. So some of the traffic lights you are seeing, the computer that's controlling them is what? The Linux operating system. All right. So now, critical infrastructure in cybersecurity matters a lot. When we start talking about critical, it matters a lot because there are some rules that govern the internet. There are some rules that govern the internet. And that's because at first, when the internet was discovered, it was not called an internet. Okay? It was called ARPANET. ARPANET, ARPANET. That's what it was first known as before it later became the internet. Okay? And when it became the internet, which internet stands for, is towards international network, right? It was when certain countries came together and agreed that we should not, the internet should not be segregated. That was the agreement. That the internet should not be segregated, right? Everybody should have equal access. Everybody should be able to use the internet as more or less as it should be one big network. That was the agreement. So when they were having that agreement, they brought out about 8 laws. If I'm not mistaken, about 8 laws. One of them is that critical infrastructure is beyond. Like if you want to attack somebody or you want to attack a nation, or a nation wants to attack another nation, you don't attack their critical infrastructure. Okay, so that's why I said it's important. We'll talk more about that as we make progress. So there are different flavors of the Linux operating system. All right. Now, Linux itself is open source. What it means is that people can edit the code. Don't say it's open source. People are allowed to make changes so that everybody is like, they didn't hide the code behind Linux so that everybody, the community, users, me and you, can come and contribute and say, okay, I think we can make Linux better in this way. So you edit the code, you submit it, and then they might approve it. Okay. So just the way you have Windows 7 and there's also Windows 8, there's Windows 10, different editions of Windows, or one might say different versions of Windows or different distributions. That's also how we have different versions or distributions of the Linux operating system. Now, so the different versions, two very common ones, right, or very popular ones, the one you'll be hearing frequently is Ubuntu and Debian. Okay. So we hear them frequently as we make progress. So the first question they gave us here is a research question. So we should look up what year the first release of which year the Linux operating system was first released. So you cannot search that and answer that. So now let's use our first Linux machine. Now we're getting to the practical part of this class. So start your machine. Since we're using the free version, when you just join the class, do not start your machine, or else your time may run out for that. Then you have to wait the next day before you can make progress. Okay, so let's start your machine now. So once your machine loads up, once you are done with this question, which says I've deployed my first Linux machine. What do you mean by you have deployed my first Linux machine? That I've started the machine, all right? So you just click complete. When you still loading, but just click complete. Go to the next. So now I want to start running our first few commands in the Linux operating system. Okay. Okay, look at the who am I command I was talking about. What I said. Now look at this is here. What you see here is command and description. So they're describing what the command does. Okay. So the who am I command, now they put it together. Who am I? That reminds me, there's one of the top hackers, a cybersecurity analyst that might help you in your journey, as you make pro, that you help your learning experience. So you can look him up. Who am I is his name actually. I think so. It's not my name, or you put that in your bio. Or you can just search it, see what comes out, interact with the people that come out, different social media platforms. You never know. All right. So the description for who am I is that you use it to find out what user you are currently logged in as, which is what I was trying to explain. All right. So we're going to use it. We're going to practice it now. So these two commands is what they say we should practice first. So let's practice echo and who am I? So now we are currently in our Ubuntu system. As you can see here, it says welcome to Ubuntu. Right? So now all these many text rather can really look scary, but it shouldn't scare you. Okay, there are just some things we need to pay attention to when we are in a terminal or when we're not working with GUI, which is graphical user interface. What that means is if you are doing something as cybersecurity analyst and there are no buttons for you to click and drag, the typical Windows interface that you are used to, this one where you click, you drag, like as you can see here now, there's nothing to click here, there's nothing to drag. Right? You can't do click and drag here. So if you are not in that kind of a setting, the thing you need to just bear in mind so that it doesn't look scary to you is that there are just a few things I need to pay attention to so that everything doesn't overwhelm you. So it's those few things you need to understand. We're not trying to understand everything, we're just trying to understand the ones that will allow us to make progress. Okay, so here, welcome to Ubuntu is one of those things. Welcome to Ubuntu. So this other number here is just the version. All of this like this, in fact, is the version of the Ubuntu operating system that we are currently logged into. Okay, I want to make this bigger. You can actually just open it up in full screen. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so I've opened up my tab in full screen. Can you see this one? The text is looking smaller. Can you see my screen? I need feedback. Okay, all right. But I mean, what I mean now is the text too small? Trying to increase the size of the text. It's refusing to increase. Is it too small? Okay, small. All right. Okay. So let's use this. This is bigger. All right. Sorry for that network glitch. So now let's use this. So there are two commands you want to use. You want to use the echo command and the who am I command. We'll start with the echo command. The echo command, what it does is that any text you input, it outputs it for you. Simple. In other words, it's like an echo. When you say your name, Gaga, and it echoes, it goes Gaga, Gaga. It just says the same thing that I said, right? So the echo command is used to just echo anything that you want it to. It just says exactly what you give it, you just give you back. Simple. Okay. Okay, so I was saying that this should not scare you, right? Let me just go over the interface. So the welcome to Ubuntu, this just tells you the version of Ubuntu that we are using. Remember Ubuntu, what is Ubuntu? Ubuntu is a version of the Linux operating system. So we're saying that just there's Windows 8, there's Windows 7, there's Windows 10, there's different versions of the Linux operating system. One of them is Ubuntu, which we are obviously using now. Right, we just learned about it just now, we're using it right now. Okay, so the documentation. Okay, can you guys hear me now? All right, all right. Okay, so what I was saying is, so we explained this top already, right? We explained this top how that they talk about the operating system and the documentation regarding relating to it and how you can find support for it. So this last part is more about updates. They're telling you that the list of available updates is more than a big it's just information that doesn't really matter. This part here is one of the things you learn as you make progress, which is the command you use to run a new update. So as you can see, they said to check for new updates, just run this command. Okay, so this is the part that you really need to pay attention to here. This part here, which is the very last line. If you can, as you can see, the very last line. So try at me at Linux one. Then you see this dollar sign before this. So this is one of the ways we actually know we are logged into an operating system. When you are logged into an operating system, you see that when you are logged in on a command line, right? You will see this here like this. This is the username that you log in as. Okay. This username. Then after this dollar sign means you can now input your command. So next time, or anytime you are working with this operating system, and there's so much text, it looks scary. You don't even know where to input the next command. Let's say you want to input a command that can help you cancel the previous one. You just need to look for where you can find this dollar sign, this curved hyphen, and then the dollar sign. So that's where you actually input your command. And the command that you input now is the echo command, echo hello. You see, we should echo hello. So all you need to do, right, is type echo and type hello. Okay. Now we press enter. And as you can see, so I typed echo hello, and the computer gave me back hello. Those of us that are programmers here, you know, you'll be familiar with the working of the echo command already. So, but as you can see, it's very simple. So let's try again. Let's try echo hello friend. Let's say echo hello friend. This time around, we're putting it in. This time around, we're putting it in hyphen. Okay. So let's see what it says. It says hello friend. As you can see, it did not give me the hyphen, it just give me only what is in the hyphen, which can be important. So they say who am I can be used. Now that's all for the hello command. Let's go straight to the who am I command. So who am I is how you use it to find the username that we are logged in at. So let's just do the who am I command straight away. All you need to do is type who am I. And it says you are try hack me, which I told you before that this last line of code here is you can just know your username by just looking at this part here. But it's before the at, everything before the at is the username. Okay. So now they're asking if we wanted to output the text, try hack me. What would our command be? You can tell me what our command would be if we want this terminal to output try hack me as text, just the text, try hack me. Who can tell me? Echo try hack me. Oh, Rebeam said echo try hack me. So let's try that. Let's try it. So as you can see, it works. Really echo try hack me. So let's put the answer there. Echo try hack me. And they're asking the next question is who is the username? What is the username rather of who you are logged in as on this Linux machine? We already did that before and saw that the answer was what? Try hack me. So let's try hack me. So as you're learning, I'm telling you the importance of why you're learning what you're learning. Okay, because this is the command you're going to use when you break into systems. All right. So next up, we're interacting with the file system. Now, I told you guys before that when you're not working with GUI, right, the command line interface, when you're working with the command line interface, you're not working with the GUI. In other words, if there's no button for you to drag and drop, no click and drop, click and drag or drag and drop, then you should not be afraid because you can actually use it to do everything you can do in a drag and drop system. All right. So these commands are the basic commands that we use when working in the command line interface to navigate the system the way you would if you were navigating your normal Windows by clicking File Explorer. From File Explorer, you will now click on desktop, then you will now see all the things that is in desktop, you will now click on the folder you want. You understand what I mean? So let's do the equivalent here now. So let's just read what's here. They said ls is to list. So ls basically use ls to list if you just enter a folder, for instance, and you want to find out what are the things that are in this folder, you list it by doing ls. Ls is the command you use to list everything that's inside the folder. Okay. CD means to change directory. And I told you guys in the first class what directory means. Who can tell me what directory means? What does directory mean? Who can remind me what a directory means? What is a directory? Who is speaking?
Can you hear me?
Origin. Yeah,
Yes.
what did you say?
I said that is I like a folder where things are being stored, like a
Yes,
part,
yes,
part or
yeah,
something.
yeah, that's good. So Origin is correct. He said a directory is a folder. So if we say CD, which is to change directory, we're not trying to change folder, right? We're trying to change from one folder to another. That's what we use this command for. Cat is to concatenate. When you see how we use cat, you understand it better. Basically, just brings out the content of a file. PWD is to print working directory. See, please pay attention on this. Where we are getting into. Now we're starting. In fact, it's not the course is starting proper, right? Let's get this course started. So yes, let's just start putting it to use. So the first thing I want to be testing here or practicing is the ls command. Okay, so right now we are logged in, right, as tryhackme, right? As tryhackme. So we want to see what are the things that are in this system. What are the folders that are there? What are the files? What are the folders that we can find? We will use the ls command to list the folders of the files. So you want to ls. And as you can see, we have an access.log file. We have folder 1, we have folder 2, we have folder 3, and we have folder 4. All right. So there are 4 folders here. Let's see if there's anything you want us to do. Okay, so the next thing is to change directory. It's to practice change of directory. Okay, so let's use the change directory command. Like I said earlier, change directory means you want to change folder. So let's change from where we are now to folder. Let's change to folder 1. Let's just so change directory cd, which is the command for it. As you can see here, cd is the command. Okay, you also cd and then write the name. After you put cd, you write the name of the folder you want to change to, and that's you want to change to folder 1. All right, so just click on enter, and we are currently in folder 1. We just change our folder now to folder 1. How do I know? Now this is where we were before. We were logging as tryhackme, right? Look at it there. I say everything that comes before the @ is the username. So we're logging as tryhackme, right? But there was nothing here after our this curved hyphen. We now look at it here now. Look at the username. After the curved hyphen, this time around, they tell us folder 1, which means you are logged in as the user tryhackme, and this is the folder you are currently in, folder 1. So let's try if we can. Okay, we have to go back first. So to go back using the cd folder, you just need to press cd, which is change directory, then to give space, then 2 full stop. All right, you will not give any space between the full stop. Or cd, give space, then 2 full stop. That's how you go back. Okay. I mistakenly went back again when I wanted to show you the command. I went back one more time. So I left this our roots folder and came to the home folder, as you can see here. So I just all I just did was to just cd again, back into Ubuntu. You know, it's Ubuntu we're using to practice. Okay, now it's try hacking we're using to practice. Sorry about that. Let me just go back. Okay. So it's try hacking that we're using to practice. So I just changed the directory back to try hacking. So at least this is a good way for us to practice the tracking, the commands rather. CD and two full stop. CD give space two full stop is the command we used to go back to the previous folder we were in. All right. Then CD and then the name of the folder is how you change into and enter a particular folder. So let's list all the files we have here now. ls, list the files, and you can see we have back our access log, folder one, folder two, and the likes. Not the name. The network has cleared everything out that I was doing. But no problem, it's the same thing. From here, just list everything. You can see folder one, folder two, folder three, folder four, ls to list. Let's change directly to folder one. Okay. Folder one. Now you can see my spelling is not correct. So I'll press enter in case because some of you might make that mistake. All right, so let's see what happens. It says bash cd folder one, no such file or directory. So because my spelling was not correct, it's telling me that there's no such file or folder, which is another for directory, right? Bash is just the type of uh, terminal we're using here. So it's saying you use this command cd to change to this folder, but it does not exist. How would I just saying in this error message? So let's do it again. Folder one. And currently we're in folder one. How do we know? You can see it here before the dollar sign. So let's go back. To go back, you do cd space two full stop, enter. I've gone back to our root directory, which is the folder we were in before we entered folder one. So now from this folder, we do ls again. You can see it, right? So now let's just change to folder two. Now we're in folder two. So let's go back again. cd space two full stop. Okay, so just practice that. And next is the contents of a file. So the content of a file, I told you that cats, the word is the full meaning is actually concatenate, right? But what it does is that it brings out the content of a file for you to see. Okay. And it's not just for text files, as you can see here. It's not only text. This network. Give me a second. So let's just check from where we are now. Let's just practice this cat command. I wanted to leave it so we last, but let's just check all the folders since we are trying to get our hands dirty, right? So let's just list. Now, the reason I want us to do this is because one of the questions says, what's happening? Okay, so let's just CD into each of these folders, folder 1 to folder 4, and find. Let's find which of them has a file so that we can cut it. And the reason why I want us to do that is because you can see here, one of the questions they ask us if you read directory as a file. Now you can easily click on hints to know, but always attempt to carry out to answer the questions without aid before you click on hints. And you click on hints if you could not find the answer. Okay, so let's just let's change into each of these folders to find which one has it. So you can see folder 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's first change to folder 1. Okay, so folder 1, we're currently in folder 1, as you can see here. So let's check everything that's in folder 1. LS, there's nothing in folder 1. I click LS and nothing came outside, which means there's nothing in folder 1, as you can see. Because when I click LS, nothing came outside. Here, when we click LS, look at access log came out folder 1, folder 2. So inside folder 1, I click LS and nothing came outside. So it means there is nothing in folder 1. So first of all, let's answer this first question. So how many folders are in the Linux machine? As you can see, there's folder 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there are 4 folders. And then the next question is which one contains a file? That's the question we're trying to find. Oh, we're trying to find the answer to. So let's leave folder 1 so that we can go into folder 2. Now, from here, where I am, you might want to just switch from folder 1 to folder 2. From here, if you just do CD, okay, so let's start folder 2. Now, if you try, now look at this. This is what I want to show you. I know if you might have run into this error already. If from here, if from inside folder 1, you try to jump to folder 2, you're going to have issue. Okay, that's not how you jump. You have to come outside from folder 1 first and go to folder 2. If I just try it now, let's try it. Now, inside folder 1, as you can see here, behind this dollar sign tells us where we are. And behind the dollar sign shows that we're in folder 1. So from inside folder 1, we just want to jump here. Let's see what happens. It says there's no source file or directory, which is the command he gave us the other time. Now, he's giving us this command to say that there is no folder 2 inside folder 1. You understand? So that means we have to come outside first. And to come outside, to leave a folder, to go to the previous folder, CD and 2 full stop, enter. So now we are back in our root directory. As you can see, there's nothing behind our dollar sign except that called hyphen. Okay, so let's try folder 2 now. Let's CD to folder 2. We want to change our folder. We want to change the directory now to folder 2. So let's see. Nothing came outside, which means there's nothing in folder 2, right? Okay, no. Which means we're in folder 2. We just did CD folder 2. Sorry. So we are currently in folder 2, as you can see behind our dollar sign here. So let's just quickly list the contents of folder 2 and see what's in folder 2. There's nothing in folder 2. So let's go out and try folder 3. Let's try folder 3. Let's list the contents of folder 3. There's nothing. Go outside and then try folder 4. Please, there should be something for that 4. Now I made a mistake. Look at this error that came out now. It looks scary, but see, look at it. If you remove it from all these other scary things, just check the first thing here. Look at the command I gave. I want to write CD folder 4. My hand mistakenly touched S, so it became CDS folder 4, and it said the command CDS was not found. Did you mean any of these other commands? No, I just meant normal CD. So I'll just do normal CD folder 4. And I'm currently in folder 4 to list the contents of folder 4. And there is a note file. There's a note file that you guys can see here in folder 4. And that's what we wanted to use to practice our cat, right? So the command for us to remember, I said what cat does is that it brings out the contents of the file. So let's bring out all the contents of this note file. We do cat and then the name of the file. Okay, just read the cat command, cat, and then the name of the file, notes.txt. Press enter. And the content of the file is what? Hello world. That's the content. So just put that there. Once again, it's folder 4. Now they say we should use the cd command to go to this file and find out the new working directory. What is the path? Okay, so we should find out the new current working directory, which is, I've not taught you guys that command, but that's the last command that was supposed to go over here. This pwd, print working directory. Let me show you from our list of music. Look at it here. The pwd is a print working directory, which wait to explain. Now, the PWD, that print working directory, lets you find out the full path to where you currently are, which is your current working directory. All right. So when you type PWD, this one you just type PWD. That's what you just do. When you just type PWD, print working directory, it will then bring out the address, which the address is like the path to go to where you are, to bring out the address of where you currently are. So, for instance, now remember we are in the folder 4. Look at it here. We're in folder 4, right? You can see here. So we just want to print the working directory. Let it show us where we currently are. So as I typed PWD, you can see the whole this thing came outside. The whole try at me. This is the part where we are, which means we are in the home folder. Inside the home folder, we are inside the try at me folder. Inside the try at me folder, we are in folder 4. Right. So that's the answer to this question here. Oh no. Links. I didn't complete. Incomplete. No, you cannot use Ctrl C to copy here. To not copy. Let me see if we copy this time. It's still not copy. Well, you cannot use Ctrl C to copy in a terminal because Ctrl C is for cancel. Ctrl C means to cancel in terminal. So let's just type the answer instead. Right? In my own Kali Linux on my system, which I'm sure that will also be the case for you. Normal Kali Linux, you can copy with your mouse. You can just right click and copy. Highlight, right click and copy. But you cannot do that here. Sometimes you can. Yeah. So it doesn't confuse you. Just by the time you're trying and it's not working, you know what the issue is. Just hold on. I want to check something. Okay, so let's go back. We have 23 minutes left to use this interface for today. I'm thinking, should we make progress and finish it for today? Then tomorrow, you guys can. Tomorrow is Friday. We're having classes tomorrow. Okay. I'm supposed to go into the searching for files. Now I'm supposed to start using this the search for files command. So I will leave this 23 minutes so that people can use it to practice on your own system. All right, it's already over 45 minutes, but that's not the reason I would stop now. I'm stopping so that you guys can use this remaining 23 minutes on your own system to practice before tomorrow. Because if we're exhausted, it means you will not be able to practice. All right. So right now, before you ask your questions, it might be a good idea to terminate your machine. So this button here is to terminate machine, or you can just scroll to the top of this text. This side has all the text and click on terminate. Either way, so you terminate it so that you can use the remaining time later. So I'm terminating my own now. You can ask your questions if there are any questions. Let's take questions, then call it a day. Any questions? Do we have questions? Okay, Ruben said one question. Ruben, did you follow along?
Yes, I did. I did feel alone. Can you hear me? I said I did.
Okay. So Davidson Godson is asking us, what are we trying to achieve with all of this? Everything we've been learning today. Is that what are we trying to achieve? So who can answer that question?
I think we're going to like get used to the interface, the link interface. Based on that's what we're going to use throughout the course. So
Yeah,
there's just the basics, the things you need to
exactly.
know. Yeah.
Precisely, that's it. You're going to see the interface you're going to use to work is this Linux interface you're seeing here. You're not going to be doing a lot of drag and drop, although we have a lot of tools, right? And some of them are GUI, but majorly your work is going to be on the interface, the command line. Okay, we're trying to get used to the basic commands on the command line. That's what we're trying to do today. Any other question? Please make sure you terminated your machine before you asking questions. Not even that after you have finished asking questions, also practice. There's no time again. Okay. Any other question? Yes. All our classes are recorded. We'll upload it on the YouTube, most likely this night, so that I can prepare with it before tomorrow's class. Any other question? Let's call it a day. All right. So, in the absence of any other question, we'll call it a day. So, have a good night, everybody. Please do it to practice. Practice before tomorrow. We're having a class tomorrow. We'll have next tomorrow as well. So, use remaining time, practice so that tomorrow, whatever time is left from tomorrow's class, use to practice tomorrow's lecture. All right. Then do the same on Saturday. Have a lovely evening. Good night. Oh, yes. And please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right. Very important. If you haven't already.
Good night. Good night, sir.
Yeah, good night.
I have a few questions, but maybe like I'll message you privately, like to get more inquiries about it.
Is it related to the content of today's class? If it is, please ask the class. You ask here in
Not
class.
not like entirely to the class, not to the class. Huh?
All right. So please, this is our. I'm sharing. I'm currently sharing our website. If you are not subscribed yet, please go and subscribe. Get us to 1,000 subscribers. We're trying to hit 1,000. All right. So, good night, everybody.
Good answer.
Yeah, good night. Ivy, Dennis, good night. David, you don't want to leave the call.